So mark this down. September 14th, about a month after this movie releases in pretty much everywhere around the world, it finally releases in Australia. Don't ask me why it got delayed a month. I don't know the specifics, but my guess and what I've heard is that it's possibly just so they can kind of time it to when the term 3 school holidays are here in Australia. Quite possibly. Yes, maybe. And now that I've finally watched this movie, it does make a lot of sense because this movie, like a lot of recently released superhero movies, was a solid, friendly, and fun family entertainment flick. I could just imagine these school holidays, a few parents taking some lucky kids out on a day out at the cinemas, in the shopping mall or whatever, having some popcorn, having some snacks, having a good old jolly old time, right? And then after the movie, the kids just raving about how awesome and how cool this movie was. See what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to paint the picture that this movie is great for the average moviegoer, but for someone like me who just goes and sees almost every movie there is, especially superhero ones, this movie wasn't all that impressive. It feels like this movie took the classic superhero movie template as a guide and then kind of made it its own. Because the movie has a lot of very familiar themes we've seen time and time again, very similar to a lot of other superhero movies, such as loss, grief, family, and some kiddie humor. It's like this was a reskin of a superhero movie I've seen before. Reminds me of a lot of movies, but I think the most similar one is like Spider-Man Homecoming or something like that, for instance. But a bit less iconic though. Similarly, it's like an origin story, this time with a Hispanic high school student, and we see him learning different abilities for the first time. There's also a love interest, moments of calm, moments of action, but it's, it's nothing we haven't seen before. There's also really cheesy superhero stuff or superhero sayings like, "Oh, it chose you. You're the chosen one." So that's essentially the gist of it. While I wasn't all that impressed, at the start, it was pretty slow paced, and I thought the first and second act were pretty mid and reminded me of something I've watched before time and time again. I still gotta admit, that third act was much more impressive. Let's not run away with it though. It's still not something we haven't seen before. Did that make sense? It still wasn't something we haven't seen before. Sure. But still, it was pretty good, and, what you kind of expect from, like, a decent superhero movie, I guess. Great action, funny moments if you're a kid, and the story actually ended up tugging at my heartstrings quite a bit. But I believe the action and the music, and the soundtrack, I guess, paired with it, were the best parts. This is one of those rare occasions where I didn't watch a big release. Is it a big release? I don't know, somewhat of a big release in theaters on the first day that it comes out. Even here in Australia. It's actually by the time you see this, it's the 23rd of September today. Yeah, I just decided to save my money and wait for the internet release. I mean, the hype has already died off. The main reason I upload these, or the only reason I guess that I upload these videos, is to try to get my thoughts out about a movie ASAP, so I get more potential viewers. Yeah, it's a miracle I even uploaded a video for this movie, or recorded one. But I mean, this was a movie that I would have 100% watched in theaters if I could have. And after watching it in its entirety, that's how I feel. And I'm actually kind of saddened by the fact that I didn't get to view this movie and talk about it with everyone else. Or I guess the majority of people. With that all being said though, ultimately I still feel like this was a pretty mid superhero movie and nothing too special. Like I said in the beginning, it's not something we haven't seen before, but I can still see how many people might like this one. I'm going to give Blue Beetle a B. I'm pretty sure me 5 years ago would have said that this movie was fantastic and I had an absolute blast, but after so many superhero movies so many of like such high caliber as well. It's really hard not to draw comparisons, and once you do, unfortunately, that doesn't really do this movie any favors. But it is what it is. I mean, that's just how I feel, and take of it what you will. I've said all my thoughts in this one. This review could have gone on longer, and I would have had more things to say about it, but I kept it brief just because I want to change my reviews to make them more straight to the point and less blabber, but also because this is technically a month and a half old movie at this point, and this video probably won't get many views. But that's besides the point. I mean, like I said, take of it what you will. I've been watching movies, I think 8 years. Every single week I go to theaters, and I've seen so many movies that they all feel the same now, but I'm not going to repeat what I said in another video of mine, so I'm just going to leave that. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and as always, feel free to check out my previous videos. Until next time.